Hi, thank you for joining us on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. Opening day, Major League Baseball. Welcome to the baseball season. Let's get into this lovely 162 game regular season plus post. Obviously, we already had the Seoul series. Those games in Seoul where the Dodgers and the Padres did split those two. Now we get into the stateside opening day. Just to give you a little bit of perspective of what we do here for baseball, we focus in on 4 teams. We fade or follow and play those teams. With the amount of games for baseball, we have found throughout the years that it's much easier once we focus on these 4. That our winning percentage and unit wins went tremendously up versus trying to play the whole league on this one. So just to give you, now that there is a little bit of change if you or were available and saw our futures show, we do play everything when it comes to futures. We can focus a little bit more on that. But when it comes to the day-to-day of baseball, we found that the 4-team strategy for us has worked tremendously well. So for everybody out there, Dodgers, Cubs, Orioles, and the Royals will be our 4 teams that we focus on this season. And we will stick through it for the season on that one. Much easier to catch trends, what's going on with the ball club, small injuries that may be occurring, things of that nature. So those are the 4 teams, fade or follow on those 4 there. So, for example, we'll get into this a little bit later. We like the 3 of our 4 teams for opening day, but we like the Rangers actually in the game against the Cubs, even though we are huge Cubs fans here on the show. But keeping the Dodgers we've played for years. The Royals we've played for years as well, as we've spent a lot of time in Kansas City. The Orioles, we did. This is going to be a new one for us this year, taking out the Blue Jays we've done for the last couple seasons on that one. But after the Blue Jays, made me pull my hair out for the 2-3 millionth time, we stepped away from the Blue Jays and took on the Orioles. So we'll get into opening day games and get you started from there. So actually the Orioles, who we are on, is going to be the first game out of the chute. Angels taking on the Orioles. Supposed to be Patrick Sandoval going against Corbin Burns. Of course, the Orioles do pick up Burns in a trade to have their ace starter in this one. Orioles money line roughly around minus 190. At that point, total right around 7.5 runs. So if you're new to baseball, there's going to be a lot of different ways to bet it. Obviously, there's going to be the money line where you can pick the team to win straight out. The next thing that they're going to call is the run line, which is going to vary from 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, just depending on how much juice you want to give or get on those ones there. And then also there's totals, team totals, player props, hitter props, pitching props. There are a lot of different ways to bet a baseball game. So don't think just because we only have 4 teams, we're only going to have like 4 bets. That's not the case in this one here. So let's get started with what we've got so far in this Orioles and Angels matchup. We do like the Orioles, which we mentioned before. In fact, we expect the Angels probably to be one of the worst teams in baseball, even though they still do have Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon. Supposedly he's going to actually start the season for a change. Congratulations, Mr. Rendon. Maybe you can play 50, 60 games this year on that one there. So no Shohei Ohtani, not even really pitching to speak of. Couldn't even snag Blake Snell, even though he wanted to pitch for the Angels. But we do like the Orioles in this one. I will tell you this, there are no Orioles hitters props at the moment or pitching props that we could find in this game. So we'll just go through what we've got so far here. So Orioles money line. And then on the run line, we're going to take the Orioles minus 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5. We're going to play the Orioles minus a half a run first 3, first 5, and first 7 innings. So if you're not sure to find where the 3 and the 7 innings, it's easily available on DraftKings. Some of the other sites do not have 3 and 7. Almost every one of them has first 5 innings. The top of this lineup is pretty deadly for the Orioles, and we expect them to hop all over Sandoval. So that's what taking that half a run in the first 3 innings when it's plus money, we find that to be a little advantageous for us as well. And like I said, minus a half a run, first 3, 5, and 7. Orioles over the 4.5 team total was actually plus money on DraftKings as well. Normally, the first month of the season is pretty low scoring, but I don't foresee Patrick Sandoval being any match for this offense for the Orioles. They have got, even though they did send down Jackson Holliday, they've Cedric Mullins, we've got, Rushman, they got Gunnar Henderson, who I think is going to emerge into a star this season. Then you've got Santander, you got Urias. There's all kinds of guys throughout this lineup that can hit the ball. So over the 4.5 team total. We do have 2 Angel player props. They're both on Anthony Rendon. We're actually going to take under a half a total base, so basically no hits for him in game 1. And then we're also going to take under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. So hits, runs, RBIs are not available on every site. We really love that prop over and under on DraftKings. It's just a combination of hits, runs, and RBIs. So for under 1.5, he can have 1, but not 2 or more. So like I said, if you're new to baseball or you maybe bet on a different site quite a bit, DraftKings does offer a couple other things on baseball that some of the other sites still have in a couple years later. So we'll run through those plays for you one more time. We will be adding more to this, so do make sure you check out the Google Sheets at the end of our show. It'll be a link in the comments section on our YouTube page, docs.google.spreadsheet, bunch of other stuff behind it. It'll have our updated bets. As soon as we can get some hitter props, I'm sure we'd like to be on a couple tomorrow. Gunnar Henderson and Santander will probably be 2 we're focused on once they do become available. So make sure you check that out. But one more time, the bets in this one. Orioles money line, Orioles on the run line, minus 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5. We'll also play Orioles minus a half a run, first 3, first 5, and first 7 innings. A lot of people ask, why is it a half a run? Well, it means if they're winning by 1 or more, you win. If it's tied or they're behind, you lose on those particular bets. Orioles over 4.5 team total, so to score 5 runs plus. And Anthony Rendon for the Angels in this one, under a half a total base, so it means no hit. You can walk 5 times, it's still no total bases on there. And Anthony Rendon under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs on that. So you'll see HRR when you get to the Google Sheets. That stands for the hits, runs, RBIs prop. Next game up is actually the second game on the board as well. Cardinals going to LA. LA's already played a couple games over in the Seoul series. Glasnow's going to get a start again because they had a nice little week off in between those against Miles Mikolas for the Cardinals. Mikolas better have a much better season than he did last year, or I was kind of shocked that he was the ace, to be really honest. But I don't know if you're going to throw Kyle Gibson or anybody else out there to be the ace for the Cardinals. We actually like the Cardinals this season. We think they're probably going to win the NL Central on that one. Their pitching is going to be their area, though. It's not going to be fantastic, but that lineup is deep. So don't let that fool you. Now, it's not as maybe deep as the Dodgers lineup, but it is deep. So the Dodgers are throwing out Glasnow. Dodgers are currently around minus 230 on that. We did grab this probably 3-4 days ago when it opened at minus 215. It really hasn't moved a bunch, but expect the Dodgers money to roll in as they are, the star team, so to speak. So obviously getting Ohtani, and the other Japanese pitcher. I think one of the bigger ads that not a lot of people are paying attention to is Teoscar Hernandez, who's definitely a power hitter throughout that lineup. That lineup is just deep. So you're just going to start off with Betts, then Ohtani, then Freeman, then Will Smith. Max Muncy can get out of the 4 hole and move down to the 5 hole when he's playing, against right-handed pitching. He might play a little bit against left-handers, but definitely struggles a little bit more in that area. It's Teoscar Hernandez. James Outman, if you don't know who he is, second season. Had a really good first campaign. He's got some pop in the bat. He's 20-plus homers. He just needs to keep the strikeouts down and should be in good shape. Galvin Lux, who was out all last season and had to move to second base. That was kind of the story of spring training. And Mookie moved to shortstop. But this lineup is deep and powerful. Now, they lose J.D. Martinez, but don't worry. They can still hit a bunch. So in this game here, we have the Dodgers money line on the run line minus 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5. We also like the Dodgers minus a half a run first 3 and first 5 innings. In order to keep the juice down, we're going to take the Dodgers minus 1.5 in the first 7 innings. We love Mookie Betts, who started off the first 2 games over in Seoul, was absolutely crushing. With Ohtani hitting behind him, he is going to see pitches to hit. They do not want to put him on base with Ohtani right behind him. So Mookie Betts over 1.5 total bases. It was actually still plus money the other day on DraftKings. Mookie Betts over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. It was minus 170, but I promise you, you're not going to see him at 1.5 very often on this one here. So we'll take over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs for him there. Mookie Betts double and Mookie Betts home run. The Dodgers also over 4.5 team total. Glasnow to record a win. It was even money. Probably need him to go 5 there. I expect the Dodgers to hop all over Mikolas and kind of put this game out of reach early. We also like Freddie Freeman. Will Smith just signs the huge contract today. Will Smith hitting behind him in the lineup. Freddie Freeman home run. Freddie Freeman over 1.5 total bases. Freddie Freeman over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs, which means he needs a total of 3 or more hits, runs, RBIs combined. Freddie Freeman double. So make sure when you check out our Google Sheets at the end of the show, in the comment section, then you'll see the unit difference because we're not betting the same amount for Mookie and Freddie to hit home runs as we are like on their hits, runs, RBIs. Same thing for the doubles. We like playing doubles quite a bit, especially Freddie Freeman's a absolute doubles machine. He had over 50 last season. Definitely hits more doubles than home runs. And a lot of times you're going to catch about the same odds for a double or homer when it's much easier for these guys to double. So let's go through all these Dodgers and Cardinals bets one more time. Dodgers money line. On the run line, we like a minus 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5. Dodgers minus a half a run first 3, first 5 innings. Also, the Dodgers minus 1.5 the first 7 innings. Mookie Betts over 1.5 total bases, which means he needs a couple singles or a double or more. Mookie Betts over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Mookie Betts double and Mookie Betts home run. We also like Dodgers over the 4.5 team total, kind of juicy, minus 145, but I promise you for most of the season, you're probably going to see this at around 5.5. And then we like Tyler Glasnow to record a win. And then Freddie Freeman over 1.5 total bases, over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Freddie Freeman double and Freddie Freeman home run. So next game up for us is going to be the Twins heading to Kansas City against the Royals. Sonny Gray gets traded, so now it's Pablo Lopez. Going to be the opening day starter for the Twins. Pablo's a good pitcher. The Twins, I think, are going to offensively struggle a little bit, and this bullpen makes me a little nervous as well. Royals definitely added some pieces. I still don't think they're getting to like 75 wins, but they could win 70 games, I think, which would be a huge improvement over last season. The Royals, if you haven't heard of Bobby Witt Jr., make yourself familiar. This guy's a future. He's an all-star, but he's going to be even, future stud in this game. He plays short, plays a tremendous defense. He could be a 30-50 guy, 30 home runs, 50 stolen bases. He got close to 30-40 last year, just ended up a homer short, but did sign a big deal in the offseason with the Royals. He's going to be there for 10 years. The Royals have at least one star. Now the question is can they get a few more after that? They've struggled a little bit in the draft, even though they've had some high picks over the past few seasons. But the Royals, though, good ball club, big ballpark for this season. Obviously, they're trying to get a new downtown ballpark in Kansas City. That might be a little bit more friendly to the home run ball. We'll see if they get that done. But Royals a decent ball club. Are they going to win 85 games? No. Can they? Like I said, I expect them probably somewhere between 68, 75 wins. But the Twins, even though they won the division and they're favored to win the division this year, their win total was only around 86. That's not a team that 86 and 76 basically. That's not a team that's running away with the division in this one. I don't think they're going to run and hide. To be really honest, I don't know if the Twins are going to win the division. this year either. But in this game here, Twins are favored on the road. Pablo Lopez probably got a little more name recognition. Cole Reagans, if you're not aware, like the last 2 months of last season was absolutely dominant left-hander for the Royals. Bunch of strikeouts. Does walk a few too many guys. Sometimes gets a little stuck. But we do like the Royals here. The Twins were a favorite, like I said, like minus 118, somewhere around plus 140 on the run line at minus 1.5. But we will take the Royals in this one. We'll go through those Royals and Twins bets we have for you. So Royals money line, and then on the run line, we're going to take them at plus 1.5, plus 2.5 runs, and then also minus 1.5 runs, as that was paying like plus 200 on DraftKings. Royals money line, first 3, first 5, and first 7 innings. So a little bit different than what we did in the previous ones. So money line means there's obviously a good chance for a push if the game is tied at the end of 3, 5, or 7. All the Royals have to do is be in the lead on that. We just kept the juice down. Getting those plus numbers can get a little expensive sometimes. Then we'll get into the player props that we have for this game. Pitching prop wise, Pablo Lopez over 1.5 earned runs. Royce Lewis for the Twins over 1.5 total bases. Over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Salvador Perez for the Royals over 0.5 total base, which means he just needs a hit. Over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Perez for a double. Perez for a homer. And then Bobby Witt. We got a bunch of Bobby Witt in this game. So Bobby Witt over 1.5 total bases. Over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. It's unusual to see him at 1.5 as well. You'll see a lot of 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs on him. Bobby Witt double. Witt for stolen base. It was around plus 275 on DraftKings when we got it. And then Bobby Witt for a home run. So quite a few bets in this game. So we'll go through those again for you here. Royals money line. And then on the run line, plus 1.5 runs, plus 2.5 runs, and then minus 1.5 runs. Royals money line, first 3, 5, and 7 innings. Bobby Witt, home run. Bobby Witt, double. Bobby Witt, stolen base. Bobby Witt, over 1.5 total bases. And Bobby Witt, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Royce Lewis for the Twins, over 1.5 total bases. Was like plus 150 on DraftKings. And then Royce Lewis, excuse me, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs as well. Salvador Perez, over 0.5 total base. Over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Salvador Perez double and Salvador Perez home run. And then Pablo Lopez, the starting pitcher for the Twins, over 1.5 earned runs. So then we'll get to the last game that we're on for opening day. That's going to be at 4:05 out here in Phoenix, so 7:05. This is the Sunday night, or I guess they're going to call it the Thursday night baseball game. Cubs going to Dallas to play the Rangers. Justin Steele, one of the best pitchers in the National League last season, going against Nathan Eovaldi in this one here. So, being a Cubs fan, we are here in Phoenix. We actually watch quite a few Cubs spring training games and get out there as often as we can on that one. Cubs have struggled to hit, except against a couple of the starting lineup portion struggled to hit, except for a couple of blips where they actually put some things together. We really like Suzuki on the Cubs. I think he's fantastic. Not an Ian Happ fan at all. Cody Bellinger obviously re-signs with the Cubs. He had a great season last year. They've got Dansby Swanson, Yan Gomes, Christopher Morel, some decent guys there. The difference between these two teams is going to be the lineup. When you go look at the Rangers, you're looking at Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Evan Carter. If you don't know who he was, he basically helped them win the World Series last year. Aroldis Garcia was an absolute masher in the postseason last season. A guy you might not have heard of, Wyatt Langford, was the number 1 pick for them coming out of the University of Florida. He can absolutely tear the cover off the ball. Josh Jung, Jonah Heim, they have mashers and guys that can hit up and down this lineup. This lineup is deep. You don't get an out off going against this Rangers lineup. Now, where they will struggle is pitching. Nathan Eovaldi is a very nice pitcher. Should he be an ace of your staff? No. Scherzer's out till probably All-Star break. Jacob deGrom's not going to be back at all. this season. So they're definitely hurting in the pitching area. So they will have to mash normally to win games. Now, Valdi can't get up for big games, and opening day kind of feels like one of the, not necessarily like with the crowds, it'll feel like a postseason game with all the crowds there in this game. But the Rangers are favored. They're like a minus 118 favorite. They are the total on this game at 8 on this one here. So let's go through all the bets we've got in the Rangers and Cubs game here for you. So we like the Rangers money line. And then on the run line, we'll take a minus 1.5 runs, minus 2.5 runs, and minus 3.5 runs. We'll also take the Rangers money line, first 3, first 5, and 7 innings. Rangers over the 3.5 team total. Justin Steele, like these guys are not stretched out yet, so like if they get 5 innings in, I think that's pretty solid. But 4 innings of bullpen, they could easily put up the 4 runs, even if Justin Steele's magnificent. Corey Seager, he's healthy to start off the season, it looks like here. So we're going to take Corey Seager over 1.5 total bases, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs for a double and a homer. And then we're also going to take the rookie that we mentioned, Wyatt Langford, over 0.5 total base, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Wyatt Langford for a double, and Wyatt Langford for a homer in this one here. So, like I said, there's a lot of guys in this lineup that can mash. They kind of hid Wyatt. He doesn't have to be a superstar. They can hide him down towards the bottom of the lineup. That's why you'll find, he can be at 0.5 total base, or he'll be plus money on the 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. I think once he gets cooking, he's going to be a major part of this offense. I don't think he'll be batting in the top 4, but it could expect him to maybe, if he does well out of the chute, to move to the 5-hole. I would not expect me off. So let's go through all these Rangers and Cubs bets here for you one more time. Rangers money line. Rangers on the run line, minus 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5 runs. Rangers money line, first 3, first 5, and first 7 innings. Rangers over the 3.5 team total, which means they need 4+ runs to cash that one. Corey Seager over 1.5 total bases, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. And then also Corey Seager double and Corey Seager home run. And then Wyatt Langford, the rookie, over 0.5 total base, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Wyatt Langford double and Wyatt Langford home run. So like I've mentioned multiple times before throughout the show, at the end of every episode that we do, there is a link to our Google Sheet. This is a ledger of all of our bets, what juice we got those at, and how many units. And then, like, for example, with this Angels and Orioles game, you'll be able to see all those updated bets that we have there for you as well. So make sure you do check that out when you get a minute. Once you get into the Google Sheets slight tutorial here, there's going to be a couple seasons of football. This is the second season of baseball on there, so just look for 2024 baseball if you want to look at the baseball bets. If you want to look at basketball right now or even golf, just follow the basketball 23-24, or there is a separate tab for like golf, Formula 1, UFC, all that kind of fun stuff. So make sure you do check those out when you get some time. It is our ledger. We keep track of everything. We did not have a good Soul Series, folks. We'll be honest with you. We thought the Padres would win Game 1. They won Game 2. We had the Dodgers winning Game 2. They lost Game 2. It happens. It's a long season. Last season, for example, we were up 7,500 units by the time the end of the season rolled around. So no big shake there. Normally, we seem to start off in the hole anyway. It seems like every season and climb out of it and make some money. So no problem on this one here. So we already got those 2 games out of the way, and now we'll get on to the meat of the regular season here. So do make sure you check out those Google Sheets when you get a minute. And as always, if you could subscribe and get notifications to our YouTube channel, so when we drop a new episode of bets, you get those first. It makes life really simple to find us. Once you hit that subscribe button, we'll be right in your subscriptions tab. And then also, if you want to make it even easier, turn on notifications for YouTube. You'll get a notification to your phone or device to let you know Sports Bets for Free has dropped a new episode of bets. Give you plenty of time to match those up with your bets and give you that ton of confidence you need heading to the betting app or betting window. I do appreciate everybody's support as always, and I do look forward to seeing you on the next episode.